Hey everybody, what's up, man? Hold the truth hostage. Where if the truth was so important, we wouldn't negotiate with lies, would hold the truth hostage. Full-time ghosting isn't an option. It's the only choice. Full-time ghost. Now, the thing is this, man, and I've been saying this for a while with YouTube as someone who was, you know, threatened by YouTube, sent messages falsely accusing me of stealing my content, having videos taken down. I've even recently reappealed some, my bad. I've recently appealed some videos on YouTube, because YouTube announced the whole Biden thing. Oh, we were limiting people during Biden. We were blocking people. We were deleting and removing their accounts. That lie that they're gonna allow you to be free on here, allow you to talk and so on. But, what's happened is this: TikTok is now owned by Oracle. People make JavaScript. You can look it up. Oracle and Skydance, which are, I think it's run by the sons of the owner of Oracle. And that basically means TikTok is now American owned. And for a while, YouTube always saw TikTok as a threat, not a promise, because TikTok had all the because of that Chinese background, there were limitations for TikTok. So even though TikTok has surpassed YouTube in views, with far less users, about over 1 billion less, TikTok is more watched than YouTube, especially by the younger crowd and everything like that. Now with Oracle backing TikTok, and TikTok being American, YouTube is in grave danger because now TikTok isn't a threat. It's a promise. And you got to be aware that Skydance also operates. I think this is a CEO of Paramount as well. And what's happened now is that YouTube not only has TikTok, now TikTok is American owned and American operated. What's going to happen, and remember, you could correct me if I'm wrong, what's going to happen is that now TikTok can go out and truly reach out for sponsorships and deals and so on. So now TikTok has no limit to its growth, whereas before it was limited by being Chinese owned, and there was a major threat of TikTok being considered a threat to the United States privacy and security. But now that's gone. Now TikTok is a legit, threat to YouTube. And the way YouTube is set up is that YouTube is already failed because over the past, I think, 10 years or so, YouTube has gone against what it's created for. And before I go deeper into that, is that you can look at YouTube's hierarchy. Who's the CEO of YouTube right now? It went from Susan, an extreme leftist, leftist feminist, to now it's run by a guy who, has nothing to do with the United States entertainment aspect. Then you look at who's the CEO of Google. You see all the issues. Google has been an anti-American platform for quite some time, especially against freedom of speech. YouTube has been against that for quite some time, even though YouTube benefits from being able to have content shown on here that otherwise would require license, because YouTube, I forget the way that law is designed, but it's considering that YouTube isn't a publisher and it has a lot of fair use implications. It can use fair use a lot to show its content. But what's happened with YouTube right now and the way it's run and the people running it is that YouTube is just like many of these media companies which have gone anti-American. All you gotta do is look at the top, look at the CEOs, Look at the CEOs, man. That's all you gotta do. Look at what country they come from. Look at the CEOs and you'll see their operation, because YouTube's goal has been to be an anti-American platform when it comes to freedom of speech and representation. YouTube thought that it could just mold and control because it provides the opportunity for you to upload video content, which now you could do online and on your own website. You could do that anywhere. And a lot of alternatives have popped up. You have Instagram was once a big threat to YouTube until Mark Zuckerberg, really messed that up. And, but it's still, getting a lot of traffic, and there's many alternatives, Odyssey. You got a lot of alternatives to YouTube, BitChute, and so on. And TikTok now. TikTok is dethroned YouTube with over 1 billion less users, not counting the Chinese version. But just the American version has about 1.5 billion. The youth are the most watching TikTok. And what's happened now is YouTube has no answer, because at the top, YouTube has only hired, since Susan retired, who wasn't even qualified anyway to run YouTube with her rhetoric and her leftist only approach. You know what I'm saying? And now what's happened is YouTube has hired a lot of people that come from backgrounds of a class system. So they know to enforce what YouTube deems desired. And even though right now, and I've spoken to some people, even though right now you have the new CEO of Google, you know what I'm saying? They're providing all these tools. Oh, now you can create more videos, but all these tools they're providing you are to create videos a lot quicker, that they will bury, they will shadow ban, and they will limit. Because what happened is YouTube forgot what made it what it was, which was the content creators. You see, before YouTube, there was no way of uploading and creating content. You would have to get a TV deal. You would have to be on television to be seen. Then YouTube popped up, and now everyone was uploading, making content. I've had a YouTube account since I think 2007, but I didn't start really uploading until like 2017, 18, that type of situation. But the thing is, what YouTube has done is it's buried its content creators. Yeah, it gives these awards. Oh, you get 100,000 views, you get that reward, a golden video, whatever. But YouTube has now been, for quite some time, utilizing the Hollywood approach. That's why YouTube buried a lot of content creators. You could look this up. I always bring this up, that a while ago, somebody uploaded a video and it got 1 billion views in less than 5 seconds, and then YouTube said, oh, we apologize. We messed up. YouTube basically revealed they can give views to anybody they want. As someone who's on a channel, they've shadow banned, suppressed. They removed my watch hours to demonetize me. And, you could support the channel going to Hold the Truth Hostage at, GoFundMe to help me re-upload the content on a new website I'm working on. But you could go support it on GoFundMe. The reason you could support on GoFundMe is that I know YouTube wanted to send a message that I shouldn't be supported publicly. So you go to GoFundMe, you could support the channel publicly. But to get back to things is this, that YouTube was shown that it can manipulate and control the view counts anyway. And another thing is YouTube has been utilizing, like I said, the Hollywood, the industry plant, industry garden situation. I mean, look at how PewDiePie, you're telling me PewDiePie at one point was the highest subbed account on YouTube, a guy from Sweden. You know what I'm saying? That's the most popular thing in America, Swedish culture and a Swedish host. You know what I'm saying? Then after industry planting, planting PewDiePie, you end up with what we got now. Mr. Beast. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Beast, who they've given the highest amount of sub counts. Then you got your iShow Speeds. You got all these people, you know, YouTube has basically planted into the top position. But the funny thing and where this will hurt YouTube is that Mr. Beast isn't going to save YouTube from TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Beast ain't going to save YouTube from TikTok. PewDiePie isn't going to save YouTube from TikTok. You know what I'm saying? I Show Speed, all these plants and industry gardens, because, you get all these industry plants together, you get an industry garden. It's not going to help YouTube because what YouTube has done in basically limiting, deciding who will be the creatives that succeed is YouTube is basically, like I said, replicated the Hollywood formula that it established itself against. YouTube was all about you upload on here, you could go viral, you could build a following naturally, organically, and YouTube would just handle running the site. You know what I'm saying? Running the site. That's what they were supposed to be doing. And you would be on here uploading content. And unlike Hollywood, unlike TV stations, you don't need to go through their auditions and so on. But now YouTube has gone for the past over 10 years, has been a situation of if we want you to succeed, you will succeed. You know what I'm saying? We'll pump up your views, your PewDiePies, your Mr. Beast, your I Show Speeds, your Kai Cenats, they choose who they want to position to the top because unlike Hollywood actors, the difference YouTube has is that unlike Hollywood where, in actors, you got to have a certain level of talent or something like that. You don't need that for a streamer. So they'll just pluck and pick whoever they want. And they probably got some NDA contracts and they tell these people what they can and can't do, and they fund them. But what's happened is with TikTok globally, because the majority of YouTube content is them covering what happens on TikTok. That's how YouTube is no longer the number one source of content anymore. The biggest stories on YouTube are YouTubers covering TikTok, and with YouTube having all these people at the top that are, they're non-American. You know what I'm saying? They're not about the American culture and what's going on because, some things I'm not going to say, but, YouTube's operating on a class system, and they're operating on, we will keep the top as non-Americans. Now Oracle, which now owns TikTok, and Skydance, who, if you look up the history, the person running Skydance was fired by Disney, wasn't given the position of CEO, and now they're running Paramount. And I think then Paramount make, Sonic and so on, So what's happened is YouTube is no longer in a situation where it's content creators first. YouTube is now trying to be what Hollywood was. You know what I'm saying? They can decide whether you fail or succeed. That's why there were YouTube videos trending of a man painting his nails as the number one video. You know what I'm saying? That's why you saw all these odd, top trending videos. And, I'll do a live stream on this subject matter, but what's really happening is all the industry plants that YouTube has placed at the top won't save it. All these uninteresting people that, I'm Mr. Beast. I make videos. Today we're going to have a challenge where you could win $1 million by standing on top of the tallest mountain. You know what I'm saying? These people YouTube is placed on the top, which go against what it was created for. YouTube was a situation where anyone could upload content and could randomly become a massive success, something that you would need to audition for on Hollywood. But now that's gone. You know, they're pumping Mr.